Hello, welcome to Energising Flow. Today's going to be a funky, fun, creative, balancing flow, so feel free to play around a bit today to allow a fun element to come into your practice. Often yoga can seem really serious, so this is a great opportunity to explore and maybe have a bit of lightness. So it may be helpful to have a couple of blocks handy, a metal water bottle if you haven't got blocks, and it may be that having something like a blanket could be helpful as well, or maybe a cushion or something like that. So if you've got a couple of cushions or a couple of blocks, that'll come in handy. If you haven't got those available, then you can absolutely do this without. Okay, so we're going to start today with in a standing position, bringing the feet to hips width apart and closing the eyes if that feels comfortable, grounding down through the feet, drawing up through the legs, lifting up and out of the pelvis, shoulders draw back and down, maybe the palms open towards the front, and the crown of the head and the neck draw long. And taking a few deep breaths here, down into the belly as you breathe in, expanding the belly, and exhaling, allowing the belly to draw in and up. Maybe you notice as you exhale, as the feet are grounding down into the floor, as the belly draws in and up, there's a sense of a gathering from the muscles of the pelvic bowl. Almost like an internal zip fastening up, and a broadening of the abdominals. Inhaling, filling the belly full of breath. Exhaling, gathering in and up. And on your next exhale, as you gather in and up, seeing if you can maintain that feeling, drawing your next inhale to the lower ribs. This internal engagement that you feel in the abdomen is what's called Mula Bandha in yoga. Working with the pelvic floor to support the body. And this can really help us balance, particularly if you're balancing and doing today's class on a squishy carpet floor. Often balances can bring up different feelings in all of us. They can feel exciting and fun. They can also feel daunting. It can be easy to judge ourselves. So perhaps setting an intention for today that you feel will help you with today's practice. Maybe it's to allow freedom to explore and be creative. Maybe to be kind on yourself if you fall out of a balance or you feel wobbly. This is all part of the practice of yoga. And as we take a couple more breaths here, noticing how the feet are already supporting you with the eyes closed in this balance of standing with the eyes shut. But actually, the feet catch you as you maybe sway forwards or backwards or side to side. With the eyes closed, Our bodies feel their way into the surroundings. Trying to get a sense of where they are in space. Maybe drawing your attention to the front of the feet, the areas that support you there, the base of the big toe and the little toe, and the back of the feet, how the heel supports you. And even though you may be moving or rocking, the feet ground you down and keep you stable. And if you're ready, opening the eyes. And we'll come to move into some gentle balances with the feet, using the idea of the grounding down and that internal zipping up. So starting by bringing the weight into the right foot, but keeping the left foot on the ground. Maybe as you press down through the right foot, as the weight comes into the right side of the body, noticing how that engages this internal gathering up from the pelvic bowl even more. And then coming over to the left side, pressing down through the left foot, noticing what parts of the body engage, maybe the inner thighs, the abdominals, the pelvic floor. These are the parts of the body we can connect with when we're coming into balance. We'll come again to bring the weight into the right foot, and this time lifting the left foot from the ground really slowly and finding somewhere to focus on. We'll bring the left foot just slightly out in front, not lifting it very high. And then come to explore here, maybe taking the foot to the right slightly. Maybe the foot comes to the left. Maybe behind. And then bringing the foot back down. So this is just to play around to see how the body's feeling. And if you want to put the toes down at any point, that's fine. But getting a sense for where the body is and how it supports itself in these different positions. We'll draw the weight into the left foot now. And playing around on this side, the right foot comes out in front. And maybe over to the left. Opening to the right. And drawing back. And then bringing that foot down. Take some circles through the wrists and one ankle at a time. And having maybe a little roll through the shoulders. We'll come to stand at the top of the mat. Bringing the feet together or apart, whatever feels comfortable today. Inhale, arms come out to the side, up overhead. Exhale, bending the knees, coming into chair pose, reaching the arms forward. Knees are coming behind the toes to be able to see the toes if you look down, bringing the weight into the heels. Tucking the lower ribs in to keep the spine long. Exhale, releasing down to forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, coming into halfway lift. And exhale, hands to the ground, stepping back to plank. For this first sun salutation, option to bring the knees down, tucking the toes, bending the elbows, lowering down. Inhale, coming up, baby cobra or cobra. And exhale, finding your way back into downward facing dog, taking your time. Having a nice stretch out in downward dog, option to pedal through the feet. And then as you inhale, finding your way to the top of the mat, hands come to shins, spine long gaze down, halfway lift. Exhale, release to forward fold. Inhale, bending the knees, rising up to chair pose. Option here, if it feels good today, to come up onto the toes in chair. Taking a little balance. Maybe you can sit down lower. Then rising up onto the tiptoes still. Arms reach up ahead. And lowering down. So having a bit of fun here as we come into these balances. Taking whichever ones you fancy, leaving whichever ones you'd rather not do. Inhale, arms come out to the side, up overhead. Exhale, down to forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, spine comes long. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back into plank. Option to come through knees down, as we did before, or lift the knees or full chaturanga. Your choice. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting the right leg high, coming into three-legged dog. And stepping the foot forward in between the hands. Rising up, pressing into the heel of the front foot. High lunge, coming up on those back toes. Option to stay here or to play in a little balance, coming up onto the toes of the front foot, so on the toes of both feet here. Bringing the heel down, hands by the feet, stepping back to plank. Finding your way down, knees down if that feels good, or lifted, or full chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises up, three-legged dog, stepping forward in between the hands. Grounding down through that front heel as you rise up, coming into high lunge. Option to keep the heel down, or if you want to have a little play, lifting the heel of that front foot. Bringing the heel down, hands come to the ground, stepping back into plank. If you're warmed up now, maybe lowering down, full plank all the way down. And inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Grounding down through the fingers, through the knuckles of the fingers. On your next inhale, stepping or floating, coming to meet halfway lift at the top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we'll take a bend to the knees again, option to come into that chair pose and lift the heels. Sinking down, taking one more breath here. Inhale, rising up, keeping the heels lifted. And exhale, hands in front of the chest. Inhale, arms come out to the side, up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift, spine is long. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back to plank. Lowering down, chaturanga, or all the way to the floor, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts back and up, three-legged dog. Stepping forward in between the hands. This time grounding the back foot down, rising up, coming into warrior two, hips facing the side of the mat, hands reaching to opposite ends of the mat. From here, option to try coming up onto both toes. Maybe lifting the front toes first and then the back. Seeing how it feels here in this balancing warrior two. Heels come down, hands by the feet, stepping back to plank. Lowering down chaturanga or into cobra, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts, three-legged dog, stepping forward in between the hands, bringing the back foot flat, rising up, warrior two. Again, option to have a play in that funky balance. Coming up, one toe, the other toe. Seeing how it feels here, keeping that knee open. Then taking a couple of breaths if you can. Getting a feeling for that zipping up. Exhale, heels come down. Hands by the feet, stepping back to plank, finding your way through vinyasa. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here, reaching down through the heels of the feet. Hips come high. And then stepping, walking or floating. Coming to meet in halfway lift. Exhale, release to forward fold. Inhale, one more go with that funky chair. Option two, lift the heels. Exhale, rising up and coming back to center. We'll come through one more time. This is a good time to have your blocks handy, so if you want to have blocks or water bottles to the side of the mat, bringing them to the side. Inhale, arms come out to the side, up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, hands by the feet, stepping back to plank. Lowering down, finding your way, upward dog or cobra. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Inhale, right leg rises up, three-legged dog. Exhale, right hand in front of in between the feet. Left foot comes flat, rising up, warrior two. Option two, take that funky heel lift, lifting both heels off the ground, keeping the knee moving outwards. Exhale, lowering the heels down, grabbing one of your blocks or your water bottle. Slightly stepping in that back foot, will come into half moon here. So placing the block as you press off the back foot to about a foot or so in front of your foot there on the little toe edge, and lifting up the back leg, flexing through the foot, drawing the arm up. And if this is feeling super comfortable here and you feel very balanced, option to have a play at bringing the block closer in towards the foot. So towards the center line. You'll notice as you bring the block further to center, it gets increasingly difficult to balance. So if you're feeling that you're incredibly comfortable, drawing the block further and further to the center of the mat, and at some point you're bound to have a little wobble. So enjoying that feeling of playing around, moving the block, having a wobble, seeing where you end up. We'll take one more breath here, having a play in this pose, having a wobble, falling out. This is what this class is all about today. And then exhale, we'll step back to warrior two, leaving the block on the ground, rising up. Exhale, hands by the feet, spinning onto the back toes, stepping back to plank. If you want a more restorative version, bringing the knees down. Inhaling, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises up and back. We'll come to play on the other side. Left foot steps in between the hands, grounding that back foot. Inhale, warrior two. Option to play around, funky, warrior, lifting the back heels and the front. Exhale, lowering the heels down, grabbing your block. We're going to take a little step in of the back foot, and then using the back foot to press off, bringing the block down to the little toe edge slightly ahead, and allowing that back foot to rise, flexing through the foot, opening the chest, lifting the arm up. So option as before here to play around, bringing that block towards center. You'll notice as you do that it gets increasingly wobbly, and you're almost guaranteed at some point to fall out of the pose. That's a great way to play around with balance, to take away the pressure of having to stay in this position and for it to be perfect. Perfect doesn't exist in yoga, so this is a great practice. Having one more breath here. And exhale. We'll step back to warrior two, leaving the block, reaching out. Hands come to frame the front foot, spinning onto the back toes, stepping back to plank, coming through whichever version feels good for you. And exhale, downward facing dog, taking a few deep breaths here. And from here, coming forward, lowering the knees down, coming onto all fours. We'll take a cat and cow pose. First of all, lengthening through the spine, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, spine is long, gaze down. On your next exhale, pressing through the hands, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. And inhale, drawing the chest through the arms, opening and expanding. And back to center. Coming up onto the knees. And bringing the right leg out to the side. Coming into gate pose. The right hand, back of the right hand against the right thigh. Inhaling as the left arm comes up, and then if it feels that there's space, sliding the right arm down the thigh, and the left arm moves up and over the ear. So not really pressing in very hard with this right hand, it's more resting gently on the thigh. And then inhale, coming back to center. We'll bring the left hand down to the ground underneath the shoulder and reaching up and over with the right arm. And from here, there's an option to lift that right leg from the ground or bend the right knee, reaching behind with the right hand, grabbing hold of the foot, kicking the foot away into the hand, coming into an arc. So playing around with these balances here, seeing what feels good, what feels challenging. If you've got the bind with the foot, reaching the arm and leg back out, and then lowering the leg and bringing the arm back up to center. We'll bring that right knee back down to the ground, come onto the left side. So left leg comes out, back of the left palm against the left thigh, reaching up as you inhale with the right arm, and then coming over, finding your side opening here in gate pose. So no pressure to feel like you have to come really far over. If it feels good being here, feel free to be here. Reaching up to the sky. Wherever you feel you can go over where you're not putting too much pressure on that lower arm. We'll inhale, come back to center. And this time the right hand finds the ground. The left arm reaches up and overhead, stretching the left side of the body this time. If that feels good, then you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to try the balance, you can lift that right leg from the ground, or you can left leg from the ground. You can bend the left knee, catching the left foot with the hand, and kicking away to open the chest. So this is your chance to play around and see what feels good. Inhale, if you've got that bind, coming back to center, reaching hand and foot away. And exhale, the foot comes down, and then finding your way back to center. Drawing that left leg in. We'll come back to all fours. Taking a few exploratory circles here, whatever feels good for your body. Stopping at any point that maybe feels tight. And then finding stillness in all fours, bringing the feet to the side, coming to sit down. From here we'll bring the soles of the feet together. If you've got blocks or cushions, you're welcome to pop those underneath the knees if that feels supportive and stops any gripping in the inner thighs. And then the poor feet have been working very hard today. So this is a really nice opportunity to use your hands to massage the insides of the arches of the feet if you'd like. Giving them some release from all of those standing toe balances that we've been doing. And allowing the spine to be long here. Taking a few minutes, you're welcome to close the eyes if that feels good, to fold forward over the legs if that feels good, to stay with massaging the arches of the feet. This is your opportunity to give your body what it needs and what it wants. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here, drawing the breath down into the belly. And then a hand under each knee, bringing the knees together and separating the feet to any distance that feels comfortable. We're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. So if you've got your cushions or if you've got a bolster which you'd like to make this a more restorative pose, feel free to grab it. So if you have got cushions or bolsters or things like that, then you can use these to support you. Drawing the spine long, and then exhale, coming down any distance. So it may be that coming just slightly forward, keeping the spine long, resting your head feels really great. It may be that you want to have a block or a cushion that you can bring your head down to come down onto your elbows. It's whatever feels right for your body today. Being really mindful not to overstretch the hamstrings or the inner thighs. If you know these are areas where you often feel tight, listening to your body and allowing yourself to come down just as far as feels comfortable. Sometimes the great thing about doing classes online is that we don't have to worry about what everyone else in the class is doing. Sometimes in class it can be really tempting to take our body further than it wants to go. So using today as an opportunity to be choosing what's right for your body. And if that means staying in a more upright position, then taking that opportunity today, breathing into any areas of tightness. If you notice any gripping in the inner thighs, what happens if you say yes to those areas? If you allow them to relax, to let go, maybe closing the eyes so you can really feel into what's going on in the body for you. And taking a couple of breaths here. How can you find more space in this pose? How can your body feel more supported in this pose? Making your way back up to sitting with a long spine, moving any props out of the way, taking care if you've got heavy bolsters or anything like that. And bringing your hand under each knee, bringing the hands behind the back, and we'll just windscreen wiper gently with the legs, bringing them over to one side and then the other. Releasing the hips, and releasing the spine. And then finding a way very gently to lie down on the mat, using your hands to support you behind the thighs if that feels good, or coming onto a side first and rolling over, whatever you need to come down safely. Allowing the left leg to come out straight, keeping the right leg bent, and drawing the right knee in towards the chest, interlacing the fingers around the right shin. And then holding onto that right shin with the left hand, allowing the right arm to open up, looking over the right hand as you draw that the right leg across the body to the left hand side. You're welcome to roll up onto the left hip here, coming into a supine twist, keeping both shoulders on the floor if you can. So gaze is over the right shoulder, over the right hand. And the right leg crosses over the body to the left side. What happens here if you allow the inner hip flexor to relax and let go? Can you send your breath down to the right hip? Taking one more deep, nourishing breath here. Inhale, bring the right hand down by the side. Gaze comes up to the ceiling, rolling over onto your back, hugging both knees into the chest here. Taking a little rock from side to side. And then interlacing the fingers around the left shin, right leg comes out straight this time. Drawing the left knee up towards the chest. And then allowing the left hand to open out to the side, the gaze comes over the left hand. And using the right hand to gently guide the left leg across the body. Coming up onto that right hip if it feels good. And then taking the twist on this side. Keeping both shoulders grounded onto the mat. Maybe this side feels different to the other side. Taking one more deep, nourishing breath here. And on your next inhale, the left hand comes down by the side, gaze comes upwards, rolling slowly onto your back. Both knees come into the chest, taking a rock side to side, forward or backwards. Maybe a hand on each knee and circling on your lower back. Whatever feels good for you, whatever it is that your body needs. What is your body asking for today? And then opening the legs and the arms out. We'll come to our final resting pose, to Shavasana. So getting yourself as comfortable as you can here. If you want a blanket under the head or under the knees. Maybe socks, jumper, blanket to cover you. Finding a position where you can be comfortable. Drawing the breath in through the nose, deep down into the belly. Exhale, allowing a deep sigh out through the mouth. And taking that again if that feels good. Deep breath in through the nose, filling the belly. Deep sigh out through the mouth. Allowing your body to be in a place where it's fully supported by the mat. Maybe thanking it for what it was able to do in class today, for the challenges it undertook with the balances. And maybe thanking yourself for any kindness that you showed yourself in class, or any willingness to explore, the willingness to fall out of balance, to try new things. Maybe the intention that you set at the start of class is something that you can take forward to the rest of your week. Being playful, being willing to explore is something that benefits all of us. Being kind to ourselves. Allowing each exhalation to ground your body deeper into the floor. To become heavier. Taking a few breaths here to just be with your body and be with your breath. I invite you to stay here for as long as you would like today. If you are moving on, beginning to bring some movement into your fingers and toes. Allowing the body to gently roll over onto one side. And using your hands to support you in coming up to any comfortable seated position. Bringing the hands together, tucking the chin, allowing the eyes to stay closed. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope you had fun and were able to explore your practice with these balances. I hope you have a good rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Namaste.